Hi everyone, it's Melissa here from Little Kosher Lunch, and today I really want to talk to you about dinner and entertaining. High holidays are coming up. I just went to the kosher supermarket, which I go to periodically, especially before the holidays, to kind of get in the mood and pick up a few special things, and they've already got all their Rosh Hashanah stuff out. All the fancy tablecloths are out. So to that end, I wanted to talk to you about being prepared in advance for the holidays because I love Jewish foods for the holidays. And for me and my family, that means Ashkenazi Jewish recipes like brisket and Noodle Kugel and delicatessen. And all of these foods are really excellent for the high holidays because they're wonderful and easy to make in advance. They are made from items that you can buy in advance. Please excuse my dog and her long nails. There you are. We have a little bit of time before the holidays are upon us, so I wanted to talk to you about ways that I'm getting organized, checking my pantry, freezer, and refrigerator, and I am stocking up and getting ready. This means that I'm using my secret weapon here. This is a book that I've been living by, especially with back to school, Confessions of an Organized Homemaker. This is not a Jewish book per se, but it is it's like a mommy's best friend. So check it out if you haven't seen it before. I have tucked my little high holidays recipe cards into this book, and I've been going through my recipe cards and just checking off what ingredients I need to buy. So I'm going to take you through a little tour right here of things that I'm buying and planning to serve for my high holidays to give you some ideas. And then at the end, I'm going to show you how I'm preparing for my kids for the high holidays. And then I have a secret weapon if all else fails that'll save you. So over here, this is my little Noodle Kugel station. And so I just wanted to show you how simple it is and how these are basically pantry staples that I am buying well in advance of the holiday. I have egg noodles, golden raisins, cottage cheese and sour creams. They last forever, so you can buy them well in advance. Sugar, cinnamon, cornflake topping for my Noodle Kugel. And then obviously there's a few other things like butter and eggs, which I always have on hand for this recipe. I'll link up all my recipes below for you, but this is a really sentimental recipe. It's one that you can make in advance, a day or two before the holidays if you're entertaining, so you have a very relaxed high holiday experience, whether it's Rosh Hashanah, breaking the fast, etc. This packs wonderfully in a lunchbox. So again, if you haven't had it before, I love Noodle Kugel, and it's like really fattening and great, and this is the one time of year that I make it. Over here, just some other things that I'm stocking. Apples dipped in honey. I have a whole video about this for your lunch boxes, but apples keep really well in the fridge. I'm picking them up when I see them for a great price. I picked up dried apple rings today. These are a must-have in my household for lunches, snacking, on a cheese platter. I'm stocking up on nuts for entertaining and having people over. Carrots and carrot simmis is another recipe that a lot of people love for Rosh Hashanah. Carrots are a symbol for the start of the new year. These keep great. They were on sale at Costco. You can buy a 10-pound bag and just keep them for weeks. So these are my produce items that I'm stocking up and sharing with you. This is my honey area. I wanted to really be stocked with honeys for Rosh Hashanah and dipping. I have honey sticks for my lunchbox and for play dates. I have spun honey, which spreads fabulously on a sandwich if you do apple honey sandwiches. I have the honey for putting on a cheese platter with the honey comb in it. And these are also really fun for individual portions if you have a little child over or for your lunchbox. These are the little Bon Maman honeys. They are like the jellies, and you can order those, and I'll link them below. So these are great. I'm stocked in this category. Also, if you're doing entertaining in a cheese platter, these are all kosher cheeses that I found at the supermarket. This cute one is an apple smoked Swiss cheese. It's super apropos for Rosh Hashanah. I have a blue cheese that I love to do with pomegranate seeds. It's so delicious, the contrast, and a goat cheese. So stock your cheese drawer. If you keep strict kosher, all of these will work for you, and I found these at both my mainstream and kosher supermarket. This also is a pantry staple for us. I always want to make sure to stock grape juice for the children. It makes them have more fun for the holidays. I have stocked up at Costco. I bought my smoked salmon. This is the wild salmon that comes in a 2-pack. I've spoken to some of you about this. I freeze my lox. So I'm putting both of these in the freezer. I'm going to pull one out the night before for the high holidays and for packing lunches because my daughter loves it. You can use one now and freeze the other. Don't let your lox go bad. It freezes just fine. So this is a prepare ahead thing that I'm doing. If you're serving a luncheon or something like that, I freeze bagels. It saves you a trip when it's crazy holiday time. And these are the mini bagels. They're so charming, great for lunches, great for entertaining children, or great if you're having a buffet with lots of other foods. You can have just a little bagel and lox. Cream cheese I stocked up on. It keeps in my fridge. In my freezer, I threw these little mini potato Knishes. These are great. They're parve, so you can serve them with a meat or a dairy menu. And these with a yellow mustard are super delicious as a starter and no work for you. You just pop them in the oven. I love brisket. I love brisket. I love a lot of brisket. I love making brisket and taking to a new mommy, if you've seen my meal train videos. And I like a good deal on brisket because brisket is very expensive. Obviously, if you are buying kosher meat, you're just gonna order what you want from your kosher butcher. If you're not kosher or kosher style, there's a lot of opportunities to stock up on brisket at a great price, which may be happening in advance of any Jewish holidays. At Costco, I know this happens. I know they do prime meat sales. And if you are willing to cut your own brisket, I wanted to show you what a whole brisket looks like because not everyone that I know does this. This is a whole prime brisket, not kosher, from Costco. It was $4 a pound, which is a screaming great deal. And what happens is when you get a brisket like this, most people buy a half brisket that's the flat end. And here you can see there is the flat end, and then there's this more like mountainous end on this brisket. With any whole brisket that you buy, there's gonna be some fat to trim. So there's a little bit of waste, but not too much. I would say the nicer end is the flat end. So if I was sharing this with another family, I'd probably give them the flat end. It cooks more evenly. There's a little more trimming and more sort of mountains and valleys of fat in this other end. But if you're like me and you really just don't mind doing the work, I would say that this is a way better deal than buying a half brisket. And if you see this on sale in advance, I will often buy the whole thing. I will cut it in half. I will cook half now for one holiday, and I'll put the other half away for another holiday later on in my freezer. So I just make one cut with a knife, put half of it in the freezer. This saves me a lot of time hunting for brisket last minute, and it also saves me money when I get it on a great deal on sale. For my brisket, I went through my recipe card in advance to make sure I'm stocked with everything I need. I will, again, put this information below for you, but my brisket is just onions and onion soup mix. If you're strict kosher, Lipton makes the kosher soup mixes that will have a distinction here. Even if you don't keep kosher or you're not even Jewish, this is such a great simple recipe. I wrap my brisket in a foil packet before I close it up. I put 1 or 2 thinly sliced onions all over the fatty side goes up, onions all over it sliced, and I sprinkle with 1 or 2 packets of onion soup mix. It's full of all the salt and seasoning that you need, and that bakes in a 350-degree oven for, depending on the thickness, 3 hours, 4 hours in its little steamy packet. And then you slice it against the grain. I always serve hot horseradish with my brisket, so I make sure to have that in advance. And usually this is a set it and forget it recipe. So this is like great if you're entertaining. It's great if you're going to temple. It can just be there minding its little self. You don't need to supervise it so much. And I serve it with rice that I make in my rice cooker. So again, simple dish, not a lot of prep and fussing. This is a great high holiday food, and it's great as leftovers, or you can make it the day before and rewarm it. Last but not least, I wanted to talk about delicatessen food and breaking the fast, which I would say is probably the most high stress holiday for any Jewish mother who is hosting or has hungry people in the house. You don't have to be doing all of this preparation. Call your local deli, order your deli platters. We usually do cold cuts or fish platters and bagels. Get a great Jewish rye bread. Often, if your order is enough money, if you're like entertaining a big crowd, they will deliver it to your house. Just sign the bill. That is like really a time saver and a stress saver when it's the high holidays time. The other thing, in addition to checking all of these foods in my pantry and stocking them in the freezer, that I'm doing is I'm getting out my platters, my tablecloths. I'm making sure that all of that is clean, ready, and that I have enough of it. And last but not least, I'm going to go to my books area because I think this is important as a mom of young kids. We get PJ Library books, and I always have a special bookshelf where I sort them by holiday. I pulled out my Rosh Hashanah books. This one just came from PJ Library. It's really sweet with Lift the Flaps for young children. I have this older one, How Rosh Hashanah Challah Became Round. It's super cute. On Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, this is another nice children's picture book. And this was a year or so ago from PJ Library, Jewish Holidays All Year Round. This is an oldie but goodie. This is poems for Jewish holidays. And so it's great for every Jewish holiday if you want to do a poem before bed for your children, a poem before going to services. If you want to say something in addition to a blessing or grace before the meal, this has a lot of great material in it. And I want to wish you just a really happy, low stress, delicious high holidays with your family, whether you are religious and go to synagogue or not. I hope that you can make those memories with your family by cooking some delicious Jewish foods this year. Take care.